Isn't it funny? Whenever you feel constantly cold, no matter what wall you run into, you don't feel it. When you drink tea, you're not actually tasting it. Oh, I know why. Might have something to do with the fact that I'm dead. Yeah, I'm dead. How, you ask? I was walking down the street, as you do, and I spotted 12 children in the middle of a road. So I did what anybody would do. I ran to them, I grabbed them, I threw them one by one, with one arm, like that. Grabbed them, threw them, kept doing that. After I threw the 12th and last one, the truck hit me, killing me, of course. Yeah, I died a hero. It's a cup. Oh, thank God. Oh, I had to think of something, didn't I? I couldn't exactly tell them the truth, could I? Oh, hey. That I was walking down the street, heading to the shop to get a liter of milk, slipped on a banana skin, and then broke my neck off a park bench. They'll never know. So, in 1988, Tim Burton released a movie that would go on to become a cult classic, Beetlejuice, starring Alex Baldwin and Geena Davis and Winona Ryder. And of course, you can't even mention the word Beetlejuice without even thinking of the legendary Micheal Keaton. I love that guy. He's Batman. I had to, sorry. So it tells the story of a nice couple owning a big ass house, creepy, and they're just doing their everyday things, listening to music, cooking, and they decide, hey, we'll go to the shop to get a few things, as you do. So they get in the car, drive off to the shop, get a few things, and then, go to return home. Only to get into a car accident caused by a dog. It's always a dog. So they crash into a bridge, big wooden ass bridge. They crash into the side of it, and you see the dog standing on the only beam keeping them up from falling down the bridge. So I always feel the dog did it deliberately. He was like, fuck it. They asses went down. They drowned in the water. And then, of course, you have them returning home sometime later, both soaking wet. And you think, oh, maybe they survived. Fair enough. And it's only until Barbara looks in the mirror and doesn't see a reflection. She gets little horse things like, look at that, and she only sees the horse. She doesn't see her behind it. So, in essence, they sort of realize that, fuck, we're dead. Ain't that a bitch? So, before they know it, a new family starts moving into their house. I love how they're not even dead that long and their house gets sold. They're dead? That's awful. How much for the house? But I think every landlord would probably be like that. My tenant's dead. Shocking. Get someone else in there. Put the rent up too. Shit. So the family moves in and they tried to come up with a theory. How can we get rid of these people out of our home? So they come up with an idea to try and scare them. So there's a couple of gags where, like Barbara, for example, is like hanging in the wardrobe whenever they open it and by the neck, and it rips her face off and screams. And they're not phased because they can't see, because you know they're ghosts. They're like, I know. We're gonna hope the next one is a bigger wardrobe. Brilliant. So they're losing the will and thinking maybe there's nothing we can do. These people are in our home and there's nothing we can do. You know, we just have to live with it. Or not. So, the thing I love about this movie is Tim Burton does a really great job at, like, the effects he puts in still hold up today. Even though, like, you know, there's a lot of practical. And I will always take practical over CGI any day of the week. CGI just looks too cheap. Yeah, I know, yeah, it's not cheap, but it looks too floaty, too light. You know. It's like, for an example, a really quick example, it's a different movie, but the first Terminator, at the end they had the T-1000, T-100, sorry, T-100, and it was a practical robot, and you knew it was scary because it was really there. And then you look at, say, Terminator Genesis. They redo the first movie, first Terminator, and he's attacking, and you know it's CGI, and it feels so light, like there's no weight to him, you know, so it takes you out of it. So that's why practical is better than CGI, in my opinion. Anyway, we'll all have our own opinions, and that's fine. But yeah, his effects hold up greatly, and and the humor also holds up in this movie. The humor, a lot of the humor I sort of missed whenever I was younger. Like there were some dirty jokes I didn't get, you know, like, you know, and they're eventually introduced to Micheal Keaton, Batman. All right, I'm sorry, I read it last time, I swear. And he steals the fucking show. Like, he's not even in the movie that much. Like, he gets screen time, like, a bit, like, you know, it's not as, like, you look at the cover of the movie and you see him, like, oh, he must be in 90% of the movie. No. But any scene that he is in, he steals the fucking show. You know, it's just over the top fucking character who is an asswipe. He's a pervert. He's all the bad shit you can think of. That's him. But it's in a humorous way. For example, I watched the TV version of this growing up when I was a kid, and they cut the scene where he kicked the tree behind him and it falls over, and he's like, you know, like, nice fucking model, honk honk, you know. I didn't see that until I like streamed it or got the DVD, and I was like, I never seen this scene before. Is that new? What? You know, because fucking TV movies are lame. They cut all the best shit. So the whole story is they try and go to him for help. They take him out of his grave, releasing him, and he tries to make a deal, but they see this guy is fucking unhinged, and he's just going to cause more trouble than he is helping. So they decide, no deal. And that's, of course, when he kicks the tree over out of bad anger. And so Lydia, played by Winona Ryder, eventually finds him, and he tries to make a deal with her and says, look, listen, I can't get out of here, you know, yeah, okay. I said, well, what? I said, you know, what, charades? He said, I can't get out of here unless you have to say my name 3 times. You know, and they have that charades game. And the beetle, hey, how's it going? And she says it twice, like, and she decides not to say it the 3rd time because previous he caused a lot of shit. He caused a lot of danger, like, for her family. Not that she's close with them, but yeah. And because she's also previous saw the Beetlins, the couple, they're now deceased. So she sees them and they're nice. And then she sees him, and this guy's just off his tits. I mean, shit. He's just batshit crazy. So, she makes a smart move of not taking his ass out of the model that he's trapped in. And so the Beetlins, the couple, decide, fuck it, we'll do this ourselves. We'll scare these fuckheads out of our home. And you get the iconic dinner dance scene, which is iconic as fuck. And anytime I hear that song, the first thing I think of is them all dancing around the table. Then the fucking lobster or fucking hand or whatever it was comes out of the plate, grabs them, and fucks them down to the floor. Which then did scare me as a kid when I first seen that. The whole that scared the piss out of me. But again, practical effects wins every time. So it nearly works, but it doesn't. They decide to stay. And then, of course, Otho, which is a brilliant character in this movie. I think he's totally underrated. He comes up with this idea of, let's make a seance. Let's see these ghosts with our own eyes. So they come up with this whole fucking seance around the table to bring these ghosts, to bring the Beetlins in physical form, per se. And the whole, this fucking really sad scene. Like, a part of me, whenever, even today when I still watch it, I feel like it's quite sad because you see them appearing on the table, you see the clothes going up like that, and then you see the hands going through the sleeves and the head coming up, and they look young. And the longer the seance goes, they're just rapidly aging, and of course Lydia is, asking them to stop, you're killing them, I know you can't, they're already dead, but so out of desperation she runs to the model and gets Beetlejuice and says his name 3 times. Showtime. Iconic. So he comes out, causes a fuck ton of mayhem. He comes out like with a merry-go-round and like big hammer fucking hands and fucking smashes 2 of the guests up to the fucking ceiling, sending their asses to fucking Mars and shit. And then there's this whole debacle where he's basically, as he said, listen, you need to help me, I need to get hitched. So forces Lydia into marrying him, and you have fucking creepy looking fucking E.T. that comes out of the fucking fireplace. They give them away. Him with his fucking priest outfit. They do that, and the Beetlins are trying to stop him. He sends their asses, sends one of them to, in like a sand where you have sandworms, and we all hate sandworms. And debacle against him. So basically they have to say his name 3 times to banish his ass back to where he came from. And like Barbara was trying to say his name, and he does that, and their teeth fly out of her mouth and start chattering away on the floor. Like I said, good ass humor. So they eventually get it, they manage to say his name 3 times. The sandworm comes through, eats his ass, goes right through, takes him with him. And yeah, the movie wraps up pretty positively. The mummified E.T. goes back into the fireplace, disappears. And yeah, the family just sort of accept that, this is the Beetlins' house. We should, respect that. So they do, and they sort of coexist. And yeah. So there was a scene at the end where Winona Ryder's character, like, goes up, like, floats, and like with the Beatles, they're all dancing and doing all that, like while she's floating. I was always wondering, like, does that mean she's dead too, or I never really knew. But I mean, she must be alive if she's coming back for Beetlejuice 2, So, who knows? I'm not sure if the Beatles are going to come back. I mean, I doubt it. So, I'm sure she's probably alive. Anyway, so, awesome ending. Beetlejuice, his last scene is in the waiting room along with the rest of the dead. So his fucking greedy ass decides to take the ticket from some voodoo guy who casts some funky ass fucking powder on him and shrinks his head to the size of a cocktail weenie. And that's pretty much the movie ends like that. So that's Beetlejuice. And if somehow you haven't seen it yet, fucking treat yourself, dude. Get out there and watch it. You won't regret it. It's a good ass movie. It's a good ass time. Well, there's not more to say. It's a great movie. It's awesome. So, what would I rate it out of 10? I'd say 8.5 out of 10. That's how good this movie is. It's a cult classic. So, if you reached it this far in the video, thank you for sticking. I really appreciate it. And if you could, like, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me. And yeah, thanks for watching. And don't kill anyone.